Welcome, yogis. I am really excited to have you today to share your practice with me on the mat for this gentle wind down yoga class. So you might be watching this at night before you're getting ready to go to bed and to unwind from the workday, or maybe you're watching this in the morning before you start your workday, but for either purpose, this practice will offer your body a chance to relax, slow down, the heart rate to rest, and to just feel a sense of calm in the physical body and the mind. This practice will be 30 minutes and we'll start with a seated meditation and breathing. So you can come to a comfortable position on your mat, either half lotus, or you can just take an easy cross-legged position. You really don't need any props, but if you prefer them, you can use some thick books as blocks, or a blanket just for some cushioning beneath the seat or for the knees if they're sensitive. So as soon as you're ready, please come to a seated position of your choice. And we'll just start by taking our hands, palms down on the knees, and then just gently tugging the elbows back so that they just hang really loosely right underneath the shoulders, right? And then we'll start with a breath in through the nose. Feel the chest rise. And then exhale, open mouth, sigh. Let everything fall towards the ground and release. And we'll do that a few more times. Inhale. On the exhale, feel the shoulders fall. Elbows sink towards the mat. And then one more breath in through the nose. This time as you release out the mouth, feel the sit bones melt into the mat. Release any gripping that you're doing in the toes or the ankles and the fingertips. Maybe just shake them a little bit. And on the next in-breath, we'll inhale through the nose. This time we'll close the mouth, exhale through the nose. Maybe the eyes will grow heavy. Maybe you shut the eyes, right? And you drop into the breath. What that means is we close off the senses so that we can just focus in on the feeling of the inhales in through the nose and the breath out through the nose. So continue on your own breath, filling up as you breathe in, feeling the chest rise, feeling the opening in the body as you fill up. And then on the exhale, pausing and really slowly letting that air release through the nose. Slow, 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 until there's nothing else to empty out, letting the inhale come naturally. Again, just focusing on the breath in and out. And with every in-breath, feeling that filling up, right? Creating space in the body, filling up with air in the chest and the belly. Maybe picturing that breath going to tight spots in the hips or the shoulders. And then when you can't breathe in anymore, starting to let that exhale escape through the nostrils, slowing down the exhale. Maybe even imagining the air moving out from all of those spaces, emptying out, and the body settling back down to the ground as the air leaves the body. Just continuing on this in and out breath through the nose. And if the mind starts to wander, just coming back to the sound of the breath. What the inhale sounds like coming in. And what that slowness of the release of the breath through the nose sounds like. Just moving through these in and out breaths on your own pace, slowing down those exhales, reminding the body to slow down, reminding the body to let go physically just as you're letting go of that breath physically. And since today's practice is about winding down, slowing down, it's important to remember that the human mind is impossible to stop, right? Some people people think meditation is clearing the mind, and they feel frustrated when they can't do so. But really the key to a meditative state is if you can just find one moment where you can just focus on the simplistic in and out of that breath, the here and now, maybe just the feeling in the body physically, or the sound of the air moving in and out. And you can find a sense of calm and peace in the present moment. So we'll take about 5 more rounds. And maybe on these last 5 rounds of in and out breaths, you really start to fill up. You inhale another sip of air, more than you thought you could. You empty out a little bit more than you thought was there. About 3 more rounds. And when we slow these exhales down, right? Ignite that parasympathetic nervous system. It reminds our body to slow down, our heart rate to slow down. And it moves us into this rest mode. And it doesn't have to be before you go to sleep. Maybe it's the middle of a busy day. One more in-breath, filling up, maybe feeling the shoulders rise, belly fills. And then on the exhale, letting go of everything, open mouth. Feel the belly compress, shoulders drop. And then maybe we let the eyes flutter open. You can switch the cross of your legs. If you have crossed legs or even half lotus, just give the hips some balance here. And then we'll start with a tall spine, right? So on an inhale, we grow tall. We press the sit bones down and we'll pull the shoulders back. Breathe in, exhale. And then on an inhale, you're gonna take your left hand out in front of you, thumb up, and hinge the arm open, right? So open palm, and then just start to let that right ear drop towards the right shoulder. Inhale, and on the exhale again, reminding the body to sink, letting go in the neck and the head. Like the head is a weight, and it's just weighing itself down. And then just tapping in and noticing what the body feels here. Right? What are the sensations arriving? And then we'll turn the palm down and start to drop the fingertips towards the ground, slow, 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 so you can feel each little tiny movement. Breathe in, and on the exhale, we roll chin down to chest. And then maybe you just take some half rolls with the neck. Whatever feels good. And then we'll come back to center. We'll lift that head back up, and then we'll do the other side. So on an inhale, we stretch that right arm out in front of us, plug the shoulder back, thumb is up. And then inhale again, we hinge open. So on inhales, we open, exhales, we empty, and we can twist, right? Inhale, fill up, exhale, start to drop that left ear towards the left shoulder. Again, the head is like a weight. You don't need any extra force. Maybe eyes closed and you drop into the physical sensations you feel. And then just letting the breath sink the body, right? When you really drop into the breath, you just notice the way it feels to let go. Your body will start to do the same. And I love this yoga pose. I had learned it in a class back home, and it just always feels so good in my neck and arm. It's a juicy one. And then we'll flip the palm to the ground and start to drop fingertips to the floor. Maybe just stay here for a moment. And then roll the chin towards the chest again, taking those half head rolls. And then we'll pause chin to chest and we'll interlace the fingers and take them to the nape of the neck. Again, you're not forcing the head down. You're letting the head hang and the hands are like paperweights, just laying there, right? Maybe giving an extra stretch here. And remembering to breathe. We don't want to stop breathing. Maybe you feel an opening in the back of the shoulders, pulling elbows together. One more breath. And then we'll remove the hands from the head. Inhale, lift up. We'll interlace the fingers again. This time just pressing knuckles into the bottom of the chin. On an inhale, just tipping the head back. Right? Until it feels comfortable. Everyone's neck is different. So stopping where you might feel a little bit of a stretch. And the knuckles are just guiding that chin back. A lot of us are hunched over our phones and our desks all day. This might feel good for the back of the neck and the upper shoulders. One more breath in. And then exhale, we can release the hands, slowly bring the head back up. And then we'll inhale, hands up overhead. Exhale, twist to the left. You're just gonna plant that hand behind you. Take the right hand to knee. On the inhale, we grow tall. Exhale, we twist to the left, right? And flip to the outside of the hand here so we're not yanking on the knee. Again, the inhales fill you up. On the exhales, you empty out, giving you more room to twist. And then on the inhale, we'll unravel, bring the arms back up, and then we exhale, twist to the other side. Again, you're planting that right hand behind you to give you length, maybe even on fingertips. And then on the exhale, we twist, maybe taking the back of the hand to the knee again. Remembering that everyone's mobility is at a different place. No judgments here. There is no way you were supposed to look in this twist. So that's a perfect time to close your eyes, right? You can't see, you just feel and breathe. Maybe gaze comes over back shoulder. And then on the inhale, we'll unravel. We'll take the hands and plant them behind us. Fingertips are gonna face our body, right? Palms down. Pull the shoulders away from the body. And maybe this is where you stay, right? Just opening up the chest and letting the head tip back to where it's comfortable. There's a little bend in the elbows. You're pressing into the ground. Or maybe you come onto the knees, lift the hips up. Ooh, a little crack in the hip. Opening in the hips, the chest, the heart. Not locking out those elbows, just a micro bend, and then pressing through all 10 finger pads. Maybe head tips back. And then you can come back to the seat. And then we'll take our left leg out long and flex the toes up towards the body, right? And then pressing that inner foot into the inner thigh. And then you're even rolling forward. So sometimes that helps to roll forward so that you're positioning your pelvis like it's tilting forward. And that's gonna give you the stretch in your inner thighs here. So we'll inhale, reach up through the fingertips, drop the shoulders away from the ears. And then we'll exhale, turn towards that outstretched leg, right? And we're gonna fold over with a flat back, like you're reaching for something in front of you on a shelf. And then once you feel that your back is going to round, you're gonna stop there and drop the hands. So the stretch comes by lengthening the spine. So as if your tailbone is pinned into the earth beneath you and you're stretching out through the crown of the head. On the inhale, you grow long and tall through the spine. On the exhale, you start to fold over that thigh as if your belly button could reach your knee, which is probably not going to happen. Gaze can be at the toes or the ankle, just to maintain that long neck, long spine. Again, pinning that right hip into the floor. And then we'll take the left forearm right into the inside of the leg. Now this might be a place where you need a block or a book, and you can prop it right up just to bring the ground up to you. So pushing forearm into ground, palm up, and then we reach up through that right hand, through fingertips, all the way up to the ceiling. And we're pressing into the ground so that we don't sink into this shoulder, right? Length, space, inhale up, keep reaching up, pinning that right hip into the ground so you feel this side stretch. And then we'll start to let that hand drip overneath the body, overneath. Maybe you reach towards the toes. Maybe this is great for you and you feel a wonderful sensation right in this position. So just make sure you are stopping once you feel a little bit of tension, good tension, right? Not pain. A stretch. You can continue to reach for the toes and then all the while spinning heart up. And it's as if someone has you pinned through tailbone and pulling out through your fingertips, like your whole right side body is just a rubber band stretching. And then we'll breathe. Maybe eyes closed, and as you start to exhale, notice how the body begins to sink and let go. On the inhale, we'll come up and over. We'll plant that right hand behind us, press this left heel into the ground, and then we'll reach up and overhead. So like the knee is a little kickstand here. You're on your left heel, and arm can just dangle above the body, right? Giving kind of a counter opening on the other side. Just letting the hand hang over, pulling shoulder back, heart spins up. And then exhale, we'll come back down. And then we'll take the other leg, outstretch that one. And then take the left foot to the inner thigh. Again, flexing through these toes, rolling forward again. And then inhale, reaching up through fingertips, dropping those shoulders, and it's as if we can rotate the belly towards the thigh. One more breath in, and on the exhale, we just start to stretch forward like we're reaching, and let the hands fall where they will. Coming back to that breath from the beginning of class, right? Maybe eyes closed, and every time you exhale, a reminder to let go in the body. If you're squeezing that right kneecap, let go there. If you're gritting your teeth, part the lips. And then just drop in and see what happens. Just noticing the breath and the sensations arriving in the body. And then we'll take the right forearm again to the floor, palm up, pressing into the ground, reaching up through left fingertips. And then pulling shoulder away from ear. So we're using the ground to press ourselves to open wide. Again, pinning the left hip down, stretching through the side body. For those of us that are so used to going, these still poses are sometimes a challenge, right? What's next? When is this over? So try to be present and feel the little tensions in the body or the stretches, or just noticing the breath and remembering that this is temporary. And then starting to let that hand drip over the body, reaching towards toes, almost like a little rainbow shape. And then once you feel a stretch, maybe dropping there, pausing, and then letting the breath sink you deeper, maybe reaching for toes, spinning heart up. Keep breathing. And then next inhale, we come up over, plant the left hand, and then press through heel, come up onto that knee,
And maybe you stay here, right? Maybe this feels great. Or you keep going, you can reach back, stretch, stretch, stretch. Again, pulling shoulder away from ear, spinning heart up, pressing through the hand, right? It doesn't have to look any way. Hopefully it feels good and your hips are lifting towards the ceiling. One more big breath in. Exhale, we come back and down. And now we'll take both feet out. Again, a great place to roll the hips forward, right? Maybe even remove the flesh. This is what will give you the stretch here, right? If we're sitting back and curling in, you're probably gonna be wondering why this would feel good. So you wanna have a long spine. You want the flesh removed, and then you're gonna peel toes up towards the face. Again, we don't wanna lock in knees. It's okay to have a little bend. And then maybe again, this is where you have a blanket stacked. A pillow would be great. And we'll all be at a different place here. So we're gonna inhale, start with a long back. And then exhale, we start to come forward, right? Now, if you're squeezing the glutes, let go there. You'll notice if you're squeezing. Let the exhales remind you to let go in places you do not need to be holding. That might be the jaw, the forehead line, maybe the glutes. And maybe your stretch is here today, right? So pause there, close the eyes, maybe you start to let the head drop. Or you continue to walk down, maybe to forearms. Continue to peel the toes towards the face. And we'll take 3 breaths here. What you'll find in a pose like this is when you really drop in your breath, right? You come back to the breath, just focus on the in and out. You might open your eyes and find yourself sunk much lower than you had anticipated. One more breath in, one more breath out. And then on the inhale, we'll walk back up. Roll back up, and then we'll take our legs together in front of us. So you want to have a nice flat back. You want to be peeling the toes up. Again, there can be a bend in the knees. So staff pose, right? It's as if your back is one long line and you're sitting against a wall. Then we'll inhale, reach up through fingertips. And then exhale again, we're folding forward. It's a forward fold. We're not curling in. So like your back is a plank and you're reaching for that shelf and dropping hands where they fall with a flat back. Paschimottanasana, the deepest fold you can find in your yoga practice. And then maybe you let the eyes close. Imagine someone is pulling the crown of your head forward and peeling your hips back, like your spine is stretching itself over. This is one of my favorite poses. And what I found with it is that on any certain day, I can fold a lot deeper than other days. So there's really no judgment here. If you're up here, there's nothing to feel bad about, right? Our bodies are different every day. As long as your body's getting a stretch, your mind is feeling calm. And then we'll walk ourselves back up, and then we'll take a flat back on the mat. You're going to just lay back. We'll take our legs long, one full body stretch out on the mat. Breathe in, let everything fall back and down. And then you'll plant the feet. And you'll take one knee in. So we'll start with that right knee, just hugging it in towards the chest. And then you'll kick up towards the ceiling. Press the back of the thigh into the hands. Pressing heel up towards the ceiling. So you can keep your left knee bent or you can take it long on the mat for a deeper stretch. Inhaling deeply out on the exhale, pressing thigh into hand, hand into thigh. Feeling the right tailbone press into the mat. Just lengthening the spine and the low back. And then you'll let go and let that heel fall all the way to the ground really slowly. And then you'll inhale the left knee, hug it into the chest, and then again, kick the heel up towards the ceiling, flexing toes towards face, pressing the back of the thigh into interlaced hands, pulling back against it. And then feeling the left hip pressing into the mat. And then breathing here. And then exhale, slowly drawing the heel to mat. And then we'll just roll over onto belly. There's no graceful way to do this. My mat's getting a little rolled up here. And we'll take the elbows right underneath the shoulders, right? And spread the fingers wide. Tops of feet are pressing into the mat, hips are pressing into the mat, Sphinx pose. So shoulders again are right over the elbows. And then you're peeling the shoulder blades back as if you could kiss them together. Gaze will be right above the top of your mat. Inhale here, feel your belly press into the mat when you breathe in. And on the exhale, the emptying, maybe your ribs start to melt down, right? All while pulling shoulder blades together, pressing elbows into mat. Maybe eyes closed here. One more breath in. Exhale. And then we'll take the fingers out, tenting the fingertips, right? So just right to the outsides of the mat. Maybe they're coming off your mat a little bit. And then you're going to drag the elbows back in line with the shoulders again. And then we're going to take some shoulder dips. So chest is off the ground. You'll inhale with an open chest. On the exhale, it's as if you could dip that right shoulder into the mat. And you should feel a little stretch, if not a lot. And then we'll do the other side. So you take the left shoulder down to the mat. And then we'll keep doing those. And it's not as if your shoulder's gonna meet the mat, but that's where you're targeting. Just to get a little opening here. Taking the dip slowly if you like, or maybe just dropping into one. On the inhale, you rise up, exhale, you dip. Couple more. We'll come up, take the fingers, interlace them behind the back at the low back with bent elbows. We'll rest the chin. On your next inhale, you'll lift up, pull the shoulders back, pressing tops of feet in the mat. Half locust pose, nice shoulder opener, heart opener. Pressing hips in the mat, breathing. Gaze is at the top of the mat. One more breath here. And then we exhale. Maybe rest the forehead on stacked hands. And then we'll plant the hands underneath the shoulders, press up to tabletop and back to child's pose. So we're going to take a closed knee child's pose. So knees are together, you're pressing hips to the back of the heels. And then we'll take the hands down by our sides, palms up. the inhale, we'll take our hands, come back to a tabletop. Tabletop is where our wrists are right under our shoulders, knees under our hips. And we'll just take a few cat-cows really slowly. On the inhale, we drop the belly, fill the belly, gaze comes up, and we pull shoulders back. This is our cow pose. On the exhale, you round the spine, pull belly in towards the spine, and drop the head. Again, cow pose, inhaling, dropping the belly, gaze comes forward, shoulders pull back. And then one more cat pose, rounding the spine. And again, we'll push back to child's pose. Maybe forehead meets the mat. And then on an inhale, we'll come up and spread all 10 fingers wide. We'll crawl them out to the top of our mat a little bit. We're going to take one downward facing dog here. So you'll curl your toes under, press hips up and back, and there's a tiny bend in the knees here, right? So we're pressing that away, and then peeling hips towards sky, as if there's a tiny string wrapped around the hips and someone's yanking it up, up, up. And then pressing heels towards mat, again a bend in the knees. Two more breaths here. And then on an inhale, we'll lift our right leg long behind us. On an exhale, we'll bend the knee and take it to the outside corner of the mat for pigeon pose. So the right knee should be outside the right wrist, knee is bent and foot is underneath you. And then left leg is long behind you. And then we'll inhale and just stay here for a moment. Hips are in line with one another. And again, you want your knee as wide as possible, maybe even off the mat. And then you can start to release towards the ground, maybe to blocks, a pillow, a blanket, forearms. Letting your practice wind down. Knowing that pigeon is a really deep stretch on the hips, right? So just breathing through it, sending breath to hips, imagining breath opening up in tiny crevices, spots that are tight, and then letting your body sink where it's comfortable. A few more breaths here in your pigeon. And then wherever you're at, you're going to plant the hands, start to walk yourself back up. And then we'll plant the palms into the mat. You'll curl those back toes, and you come back as you want. Maybe you go straight into down dog. Maybe you lift the body and pull the feet back into plank, or come to tabletop, right? But either way, you want to shake out the knee, maybe give some leg circles. Just feel a little release in the hips here. Meeting us back in down dog. Maybe pedaling up the ankles, and then on an inhale, lifting that left leg. Exhale, bending the knee. Again, taking it to the outside of the left wrist, all the way to the outside of the mat. And then even coming onto back toes and pulling the thigh back, releasing that leg, making sure hips are in line with shoulders. All right, so if this is uncomfortable for you, you can always take a blanket underneath the hip here. You can take a blanket under the knee. And the closer the foot is to the body, the less tension you're going to feel in that inner thigh, outer thigh. Again, sinking into your pigeon, maybe that's here today. Letting the eyes close, letting the exhale start to release the body down to the ground, letting go of gripping in the hips or the glutes. Maybe you let the head hang forward. And again, in these still poses, just coming back to even the sound of the breath, right? Letting each exhale be longer than the last. Reminding the body to slow down, the heart rate to slow, and most importantly, the mind to slow down. Remembering this is a tool we can use at any point in our day, not just on the mat. Right? Maybe it's at the desk, in the office, right in the middle of some task you're doing for work. Just a reminder to breathe. Just a minute of slow exhales. 2 more in-breaths and out-breaths here. And then this time you'll crawl yourself back up and you'll just fall back onto that left hip. Swing the right leg around. All right, and you'll find yourself seated once again. And we will take the soles of our feet together and we'll take reclined pose here. So Supta Baddha Konasana. Baddha Konasana is bound angle. So the farther your feet are away from you, the bigger diamond shape is the less tension. If you bring the heels closer to the body, a little bit more tension, and then we'll fall back on to the mat. We'll take hands to belly, just to come back to that reminder of breath, right? Soles of the feet are touching, and maybe knees are resting on pillows if this is a lot of tension for you. And we'll return to the breath from the beginning of class. As we inhale, we'll breathe into the hands. Feel the belly rise up. Exhale, feel the belly release down towards the mat, hands sink. Slowing the breath in this Baddha Konasana pose. Reminding the body to come back to the present moment, the mind. Letting the knees start to sink down. Shoulders melt into the mat. And having our hands on the belly during breath is a reminder, or really the beginning of a practice of breathing into the belly, belly breathing, which can be a challenge. For those of us that are used to feeling our chests fill on an inhale, right? Directing the breath towards the lower diaphragm, the belly area, so that it fills up, and on the exhales we empty out, we press belly down towards spine. Taking those deep yogic breaths. Now maybe letting arms fall out to cactus with bent elbows, palms are up towards ceiling. And then we'll guide the knees back together. Hug them in towards the chest. Maybe just take a little rock back and forth. Pressing the low back into the mat. And then continuing to hug the knees in and just letting everything fall to the right. So a supine twist. I prefer my elbows bent and cactus like a football goalpost, palms up. Gaze can be up at the ceiling, or maybe it comes over that opposite shoulder. Again, it's our body's natural tendency to peel away, right? So on the exhale, see if you can just give mental permission to the body to melt down. Maybe you don't even notice where you're gripping. Exhale harder, longer. inhale back up. And then we'll drop everything to the left side. Again, maybe gaze comes over that right shoulder. So nice because it's like we're wringing our body out, right? And then when we unwind, we get a surge of fresh oxygenated blood to the body. One more breath here. And then we'll inhale back to center. Maybe one last squeeze. And then we'll take our right ankle to the right corner, left ankle to the left corner. And then you'll tuck your shoulders almost underneath yourself and let the palms open up. And you want to get lots of space here. So this is the final pose of our practice called Shavasana, corpse pose. Corpse pose because it is symbolically the death of your old self on the mat today, meaning you're different now, right? So in Shavasana, you're letting go of your mind, your body, your breath. And that might be one of the most challenging parts of Shavasana, is letting go of the mind. So letting the eyes close here. Maybe just a really big exhale out the mouth. And then just starting to notice every part of the body that's touching the mat. Like the heels are so heavy, melting down. Backs of the calves are resting on the ground. Knees are loose, there's no grip there. Releasing in the thighs. Feeling the hips grow heavy like weights into the ground. Maybe wiggling the fingers and then letting go there. Backs of the hands drop down. And then just walking the mind's eye up the rest of the body, noticing the upper back, the shoulders, just touching the mat. Back of the head is resting against the earth. No gripping in the facial muscles or the jaw. Eyes are lightly closed. And now just resting into your final pose. Taking a big breath in through the nose. Slow breath out, maybe just rolling the head gently. Gentle movements, tiny parts of the body. Just bringing yourself back into the space, noticing the sounds in the room. Coming back to the breath that we began with. Noticing it, becoming aware, and then hugging one knee and then the other. Just a comforting pose at the end of our practice. And then rolling to one side, pressing yourself up to a seated position. Again, a cyclical practice, right? Ending where we started, and maybe the eyes remain closed here, right? Soaking in those last few moments of your practice today, and then coming back to where we started at a seated position. Growing long through the spine, hands come to knees again, pulling the elbows underneath the shoulders, letting them hang. Breathing in, letting go. And then bringing hands to Anjali Mudra, palm to palm, pressing the thumb right into the sternum of the chest. Again, breathing in, releasing, and then we'll take one more breath together. In breath through the nose. Exhale, let everything go. Thank you so much for joining me on your mat at home today. I hope this practice has wound you down, offered you some peace of mind, and I can't wait to practice with you again. Namaste.